Joanna Chung is here to help us understand what's going on with the Madoff trustee and the Mets. Or should I say the beleaguered Mets? Don't they? The two words go together very well.
The beleaguered technology company, the Mets.
Let me try to boil it down for you. So more than a year ago, Irving Picard is trying to recover money for Madoff victims, filed a lawsuit against the Mets looking for $1 billion from the team. Now,
$1 billion?
$1 billion, originally. I just want to mention that. And it's been going on for over a year, and a judge has decided to say they can only fight over about $386 million. And today, two things happened. One, a judge said the Mets will have to pay at least up to $83 million, and the rest of the money, $386 million, the rest of that will have to, will be decided by a jury.
Now that
at a trial, which is something that everyone's been waiting for.
And this is $83 million in profits they withdrew from Mr. Madoff's firm in the 2 years before the fraud came to light.
That's right.
It was sort of a clawback thing, but they don't have to give the rest over yet. Are the Mets worried about a jury trial?
This is not a good decision for the Mets, right? They wanted the whole lawsuit to go away, obviously. They thought, the allegations are Irving Picard, the trustee, is saying the Mets knowingly ignored signs that there was a fraud. The Mets, of course, have repeatedly said they knew nothing about it, and they're victims as well. And they think the lawsuit is completely meritless, so they want it thrown out. The fact that it's going to a jury is not a good thing for the Mets, but it's to be seen what happens at a trial. I mean, anything can happen, right?
What does Picard have to prove to get from the 83 up to the 386?
Picard has to prove that the Mets knowingly ignored lots of signs that Bernie was perpetrating a fraud, and that's going to be a really high bar to reach.
And how do you do that, with email or conversation somehow, or is there evidence like that in this?
I mean, this is the thing, right? This is the big question. The judge himself is pretty skeptical that Picard has the necessary evidence to prove that the Mets owners knew that this was going on for decades. So it's going to trial anyway, because it's a question that he has decided a jury should look at instead of himself. But the bottom line is, I mean, two things happen. One, it's going to trial, but two, the Mets will have to pay up to $83 million regardless.
Regardless,
yeah,
they have to give that back. Now, one thing I find very interesting here, it's hard enough to get your head around some of these financial issues when you've studied them for a long time.
Like you.
And you too as well. But when you're in a jury pool, not everyone is going to be, not everyone's going to be sort of conversant with the way the stock market works. And so, is that going to present yet another problem for the Mets?
I think it'll be a difficult situation for both sides, but there's a lot of, the Mets baseball team. I mean, this is a worldwide known franchise. I think the human interest level in this case is pretty high, and the trial will actually start, I think, 2 weeks before baseball season, right? Starts.
So it's a great way, basically, to start the baseball season with a trial.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think? I mean,
are there any broader implications to this for the recovery efforts, or is it all now at this point just a matter of what the Mets pay?
I think in this particular case, at this stage, I think it is more pertinent to the Mets case specifically. But what has happened? I mentioned there's been more than a year of legal wrangling over this particular case. So several things that happened previous to today's decision has had or could have broader implications for, and I'm talking about thousands and thousands of. Well, it's actually just more than 1,000 lawsuits regarding Madoff.
So, here's one of the questions I've got: is if you have investments that do spectacularly well over a long period of time, should you do? Should you just not believe them? Should you go for the, oh my goodness, maybe I should have gone for CDs, otherwise I'm going to be tied up in court forever? I mean, that's the question, though, isn't it? The Mets had some investments that appeared to do very well over a long period of time. That would appear to be good picking, right? Until it wasn't.
And if that's basically what they're saying is, they had no idea that there was something, awry about this kind of investment.
So Drew, are you getting worried now about your great investments that you've been making?
I was going to say they should have been in the Wall Street Journal 401k selections.
Because
they would have been fine. No one's asking for any of that back. It's
brilliant. But I mean, seriously though, the investments that people have, if you do really, really well, should you start getting really, really worried?
Well, I mean, obviously, right? I mean, in the case of...
Sorry, Drew, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, when when investments are too good to seem true, and there's too much consistency over time, and they're up when
It's the
everyone else is down and never go down,
Oh, it's the consistency.
people should be asking questions. Certainly, regulators should be asking questions, and of course, there were tips that this was a problem.
Well, that's
right?
the question
So that's not,
at the center of this entire. It's not
Yeah.
just. It's not
Should
just
the
the
Mets be
people
investigating
who.
that?
Right. It's not just the people who invested in it. We're talking about whole categories of people. You know, sophisticated investors, non-sophisticated investors, regulators,
Missed it.
analysts.
Baseball
all missed
players?
it. Right. So.
Great stuff. More on that in the coming weeks. Joanna Chung, thank you very much.